webinar, Coral Reef Monitoring Mermaid Discovery webinar for the East Asian Seas for advancing effective coral reef monitoring and reporting mechanisms in the East Asian Seas region. So I'm going to open the floor with welcome, everyone, and then a little bit of background for everyone. My name is Jimin. I work for Jeff UNEP SCSR project, a strategic action program for the South China Sea and Gulf of Thailand, and liaison to COPSI Secretariat supporting the Marine and Coastal Ecosystems program of COPSI. Here's some housekeeping announcement. The webinar will run around 1.5 hours and will be recorded for documentation. Due to the limited time, we won't have time to introduce everyone here, so feel free to introduce yourself and greet each other in the group chat. And then if you have any questions, kindly raise your hand or leave them on the chat box so then our colleagues can monitor them. Yeah, I hope everyone is comfortable now, and then yes, we'll move on. So before we start, actually, can I ask how many of you have used the MERMAID platform? Actually, I cannot see everyone, but like you can thumbs up some reactions, so then we can see like better like how many people have used the MERMAID platform before. So if you have used it before, then feel free to share your experience during the Q&A session. Or if it's new to you, then yeah, great to have you here. So our colleague can introduce you the MERMAID platform. So now, to give you a very brief background on this webinar, we had a GFCR regional workshop for the East Asian Seas and Pacific Islands, monitoring and evaluation and Reef Plus last year, October in Bali, where some of us attended, as you can see from the picture. These are the participants from COPSI side. So one of the key objectives of that workshop was to build capacity on coral reef monitoring, methodologies on data collection and reporting, including the use of MERMAID platform, and then GFCR monitoring and evaluation toolkit and indicators. From this this webinar builds on that workshop to further introduce MERMAID platform and discuss how we can support and enhance the coral reef monitoring and reporting efforts across the East Asian Seas region. And as you know, and as you might be familiar, we know that many players are already actively working on coral reefs monitoring and conservation in the region. Yet information and data are often scattered due to the lack of harmonization and coordination. I hope this webinar can provide an opportunity for the region and to build a synergy with the MERMAID platform and to develop stronger partnership and collaboration across stakeholders and countries in the region. So yeah, this is some snapshot of the MERMAID at the site. So we will start with some opening remarks by colleagues to provide you a little bit of background in the region and how the region can benefit from the use of MERMAID platform. Then Alex, Field Support and Partnerships Manager of the WCS MERMAID, will introduce the MERMAID platform with its concrete examples. Then we will close the session by closing remarks, looking into next steps and expected value added. How this MERMAID opportunity can contribute to connecting dots in the current coral reef monitoring and conservation ecosystems. So now, I'd love to invite our opening remark colleagues to open the floor. First of all, I would love to invite the COPSI coordinator, Mahesh Pradhan. Mahesh, over to you.
Thank you very much, Jimin, and greetings, everyone, and very warm welcome to this webinar on MERMAID. COPSI is delighted to host this with several partners, but I wanted to also share with you a little bit on COPSI and where we and why we are treating this as very, very important. So with COPSI being one of the 18 regional seas programs, which in fact celebrated 50 years, brings together 146 countries. But for us in COPSI, the coordinating body on the seas of East Asia, we work with 9 countries, 7 of which are ASEAN, plus China and the Republic of Korea. And we are based, the Secretariat, in Bangkok, Thailand. And with COPSI, the COPSI participating countries have agreed to a marine and coastal ecosystems framework. And I think this was one of the first frameworks, regional frameworks, that was agreed after the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework that was adopted. So ours was adopted around April 2023. And since then, we've been looking at sustainable blue economy as the overall framework, but within that, marine spatial planning, marine protected areas, and also more importantly on habitats. And here with coral reefs as one of the key habitats, and with 1/3 of all the global coral reefs in our region, and of which 76% of the coral species also in the region. And you all heard about the coral triangle being really a hotspot for coral reefs. We really feel that this is very, very important. So with this, as Jimin mentioned, we had the workshop in Bali last October, and I'm glad that this is a follow-up. But the last thing I wanted to mention is that in December 2025, 2 months back, the world community adopted a brand new resolution on coral reefs at the United Nations Environment Assembly, the seventh UNEA, United Nations Environment Assembly. And one of the key things in that new latest coral reefs resolution calls for strengthened monitoring. And I'm so glad that this will be the first activity after this new UNEA resolution to kick us off. So with that, hoping you really engage and learn from this experience. And I hand it back to Jimin. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mahesh. Next, we would love to invite Anders Poulsen, the Senior Project Manager of the JAP UNAP SCSR project. Anders, over to you.
Thank you very much, Jimin, and welcome everybody. I'm very happy to be here. As Jimin says, I'm the project manager for the SCSR project, which is the short version. It's the South China Sea project, we call it. We're working with the large marine ecosystems of the South China Sea and the Gulf of Thailand. And one of the key areas of work is coastal and marine ecosystems, including coral reefs. We are partnering closely with COPSI to such a degree that Jimin is working for both COPSI and us. And we really think partnerships in working with these large marine ecosystems, partnerships is a crucial and necessary element in working for a long-term sustainability. We are just a project. We have a limited time frame. So within that limited time frame, we want to make sure that our sort of outcomes are sustained into the future. And as a project, one of the challenges that we face is working within the region, within a large marine ecosystem, and working with we're working with 6 countries around the South China Sea. That the systems that they use for monitoring are often not coordinated, not connected, and often using different systems. So what we really want to facilitate is a more regional coherence between or with monitoring of coastal ecosystems. And this is why I think this particular webinar is of great interest to us, because I think having a sort of a platform that can be used across larger scales would be very beneficial to having a coherent monitoring system for the future. So I don't want to take up any more time. Welcome everybody, and I hope we have a very interesting and fruitful webinar. And yeah, welcome everybody, and thank you very much. Over to you again, Jimin.
Thank you very much, Anders. Yeah, it's really nice to hear these 2 COPSI and then SESOP's perspective from here. And now I'd love to move on to Nairobi. Gabriel Grimstich from UNEP GFCR. Gabriel, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Jimin, and thank you to COPSI for organizing this webinar and for the opportunity to be here. Nice to see you all. My name is Gabriel Grimstich. I work with the United Nations Environment Programme at the global headquarters in Nairobi with the Marine and Coastal Ecosystems Unit. And I also work with the Global Fund for Coral Reefs as the head for monitoring and evaluation. The Global Fund for Coral Reefs is a UN multi-partner trust fund. It's a blended finance vehicle that's aimed at the protection, sustainable management, conservation of coral reefs through mobilizing private, public, and philanthropic capital into reef positive and financially sustainable solutions. So it's quite an innovative approach, an innovative financing approach to trying to protect coral reefs and solve the coral reef crisis. As part of the Global Fund for Coral Reefs, or the GFCR, we have a digital knowledge management platform called Reef Plus, which I encourage participants to also have a look at, which showcases the wide range of solutions that we're investing in. And in the East Asia region, we do actually have three programs actually, two programs in Indonesia with KI and OICAN, and one program in the Philippines with Blue Alliance. We have several kind of early successes already in both of the countries. So in Indonesia, we have a project that's generating revenue from entrance fees to the Bomberai Marine Protected Area, with the revenue going to support the management of the MPA. Another kind of big initiative that we've managed to support is a debt for nature swap in Indonesia as well, which has unlocked tens of millions of dollars for conservation and protection of the bird's head seascape in the country. In the Philippines, we are supporting many locally managed marine areas with co-management agreements, and where the costs of running the LMMAs are actually covered by businesses around the MPAs. For example, by unlocking revenue from aquaculture or from ecotourism, and then putting that revenue into managing the locally marine managed areas. So this is some of the solutions that we're looking at. Last year, we also had a regional workshop for East Asia and the Pacific Islands in Bali in October, where we did some mermaid training, and we supported a lot of the programs on monitoring evaluation. That workshop was also in collaboration with COPSI. So this webinar is really, I guess, came out of that workshop and is now trying to attract a broader audience. So very happy to see people here and interested. And not to say too much about MERMAID, but it's the software that has been chosen for and further developed by the GFCR for all our M&E needs. So for data storage, for data analysis, for reporting. We've worked very closely with the Wildlife Conservation Society on this. They're the technical lead, our main technical partner on this. And I won't say too much about MERMAID because I think Alex will be telling us a lot more. But just thank you very much for joining, and looking forward to this webinar and training session. Back to you, Jimin.
Thank you very much, Gabriel. Thanks to Gabriel, we kind of started this GFCR workshop last year, and then and Alex approached us for this. So now coming back to our region, I would love to invite Dr. Karen, Southeast Node Coordinator of the Clover Coral Reef Monitoring Network. Karen, over to you.
Thanks, Jimin. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to start by saying thank you to COPSI for inviting me to say some introductory words, and congratulations on organizing this webinar. I'm Karen from Singapore, and for the last 22 years, I've been working with my counterpart from Japan, Mr. Tadashi Kimura, to coordinate the Global Coral Reef Monitoring Network, or GCRMN, for the East Asian regional node. For those of you who may not be familiar, the GCRMN was formed in 1995 as an operational network of the International Coral Reef Initiative, or ICRI. And the purpose of the GCRMN is to provide essential data on the status and trends of coral reefs worldwide to support decision makers and coral reef stakeholders in better managing their coral reef resources. To date, the GCRMN has published 6 global coral reef status reports, as well as thematic reports and guides like the Coral Reef and Socioeconomic Monitoring Guidelines, Methodology Guidelines. In fact, I'm currently in Bangkok right now attending a GCRMN Global Status Synthesis Workshop with regional nodes representatives from 8 regions from around the world. We are currently discussing the final preparation of the next GCRMN Global Synthesis report, which should be out towards the end of this year. So everyone, please keep a lookout for the report that will come out. Quite interesting data, synthesizing data from all across the world. But speaking of data, the backbone of the GCRMN really is data, without which we will not have the basis of making assessments that can help guide management. And although it might sound like a very straightforward endeavor to collate data, it is anything but straightforward, right? For many of you working on coral reefs will be aware of. Data from around the world is collected using numerous methodologies by resource managers, by scientists, by NGOs, by local communities, by citizen scientists. And trying to integrate such disparate data continues to be a challenge for many of us working on bigger assessments, and almost always results in landing on the simplest metric like coral or algal cover to describe a very complex and dynamic ecosystem. We're trying to move away from just using very, very simple metrics, but when you have very complex methods collecting data, you need to come down to the lowest common denominator, and it tends to be the simplest methods which only collect hard coral cover, and we use that to describe what's happening in the world. And we need to actually move beyond that. Right? But those data are important, and the effort has not been in vain, and that is evident from the reports that have been published from the GCRMN over the last 30 years or so. But now with technology, with AI, with machine learning, it is changing the way we collect data, the way we analyze, and the way we manage data itself. And platforms like MERMAID, which is the focus of this webinar, as well as Reef Cloud and others, are providing networks like the GCRMN the ability to aggregate and analyze validated data in a consistent way with the granularity that we need to better support resource managers. And thus, if you are involved in coral reef monitoring in the East Asian region in any way, please consider using tools like MERMAID in your data collection journey. And if you can contribute the data for regional and global analysis, it will become very useful as we move forward with climate change and what's happening on reefs around the world. Data that's collected, validated, is really critical and important. I've shared a slide deck with Jimin to share with everyone if you all are interested, just to give you a background of what we're doing in the region. And if you want to contribute and support the region with data, please feel free to contact me, and we will put you in touch with your country nodes to help collate the data for your country that will contribute to the region and the global network. With that, wishing you the best of this webinar, and thank you very much for having me.
Lovely to have you. Thank you very much. So thank you for all colleagues for opening the floor. So now, before we jump into the mermaid, I'd love to take a group picture, a virtual group picture, if it's possible. Turn on your camera and then just smile. Yeah, I will give you a couple of seconds to open your camera if it's possible, and then I'm going to take a screenshot in a while. Yeah, great to see everyone, some familiar faces, new faces. I'm sure you're from all around the world. Yeah, and then I'm gonna start introducing myself. So feel free to introduce yourself on the group chat as well. Okay, still some people opening their camera, giving some seconds. Okay. Okay. See, nice. Okay, I'm gonna take one now. Smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay. One more, because it seems scarce of buffering. Okay, last chance for open your camera. 3, 2, 1. Okay. I'm gonna go another one. Sorry. Okay. Someone is coming in. Let's let them in and then join us for the group picture. I see Maish is holding this heart for a while. Thank you for your patience. Welcome, everyone. So we are taking a group picture now. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Thank you everyone for your patience. Now let's go back to the presentation. Yes, I hope you can use, now you see the slides on discovering MERMAID platform. I heard some colleagues has a problem with the technical issues. So as advised by our colleague Vidred, kindly consider rejoining the webinar. We will let you in. So yeah, next, let's move on to the main point. Like I would love to invite Alexandra Lago, Field Support and Partnerships Manager of the WCS and MERMAID. Alex, over to you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. As Jim introduced me, I'm with WCS within the MERMAID team, and I lead all the field work, capacity building, and partnerships management within MERMAID. So been working very closely with the GFCR team, for example, over the past year or so, trying to strengthen their M&E across the global portfolio. And this is where I came in contact with COBC during the last workshop. And since there were a lot of participants from COBC at that workshop that didn't necessarily know much about MERMAID or didn't use MERMAID and experienced the same struggles as everyone that does coral reef monitoring and has to do reporting, we thought it would be a good opportunity to showcase the platform to a broader group beyond the workshop. So this is why we're here today. So I hope I'll present some insightful pieces of MERMAID, and maybe you can start putting these pieces together of how it could potentially help all your data and reporting workflow. So yeah, without any further ado, I think we can start. I'll ask Jimmy if I can actually share my screen, just because there's a few animations that it might be better if I have the control. Perfect.
Of course, of course. In case you're not a presenter, just let me try to make you as a presenter.
Yeah. And then just for everyone that's not muted, just make sure you mute your mic so we don't have any unwanted interruptions there during the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the reminder. And then now you will be able to share your screen.
Perfect. Okay, let's see if this works now. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Yep, perfect. Okay. Yeah, so thank you. So as Jimmy introduced the webinar, the idea is to showcase a bit about how the MERMAID platform can advance effective coral reef monitoring, but also reporting in the East Asian seas. So MERMAID is an initiative of the Wildlife Conservation Society. It was developed as, first of all, as an internal need. Since WCS has a global coral reef program across several countries, it needed to find a better way to handle data, to improve data management, and be able to demonstrate the impact of the organization across all these countries. And obviously, as we all know, like data came in all sorts of formats, full of data quality and assurance issues. And then that's how MERMAID came to be. It was just a smarter way of handling data for better reporting. So MERMAID was really the first one, I would say, in the world of coral reef data platforms. And today it's probably the only that offers a free cloud-based data platform for monitoring coral reefs that encompasses and integrates not just benthic surveys, but also fish surveys, bleaching surveys, habitat complexity surveys. And soon in the next quarter, likely, we will also add macroinvertebrate survey. So you will also be able to enter data for your macroinvertebrate surveys alongside all your other surveys that you conduct on coral reefs. So it's really a holistic platform that works, end to end from data collection all the way to visualization, sharing, and analysis. And it's been really the backbone for WCS ever since. It's now, sorry, if you mute, remember just to mute your mic. So it has become an integral part as well of the new WCS Coral Reef conservation strategy from 2025 to 2030. So it's helping WCS track some key metrics to identify and protect high integrity climate resilient coral reefs across its 18 countries where it's active. So it's focusing on these 3 key metrics to identify these specific reefs. And it's using MERMAID to do all the data entry and then the identification of these reef locations. So live coral cover, species diversity, and reef fish biomass. These are the key metrics that WCS is using through MERMAID. But MERMAID is now way beyond just WCS programs. In fact, only 6% of the user base of MERMAID nowadays comes from WCS. The rest, 94% of MERMAID users are from other organizations. So it's really a thriving, growing global community of NGOs, research institutes, academics, conservation practitioners, government agencies across 56 countries now. So we currently have more than 3,000 users actively using the platform from more than 180 organizations. And we have already in MERMAID Explore more than 8,000 monitored sites that you can visualize data for. And here in the screenshot, we have just some overall metrics about the data. So we have almost 90,000 transects that have been submitted with data dating back from 1987. So there's quite an archive of data as well currently in MERMAID. So yeah, as you can see, it has become really a global platform of global scale. And MERMAID has been quite essential as well in this latest GCRMN reporting effort. So in fact, 15% of the data sets contributing to the status of coral reefs of the world 2025 has come from MERMAID, from the platform. And because of this high percentage of data sets coming from a single source of truth or from a single platform, it has really helped speed up the whole data acquisition and integration process significantly for the GCRMN. So the technical coordinator, I'm sure some of you are familiar with Jeremy, he shared with us that actually integrating a data set that came from MERMAID was 4 times faster than integrating a data set coming from another source or from another platform. And there are several reasons for that. That's because to start with, all the data sets have the same format. They all standardized, but also they include the necessary metadata that the GCRMN uses to index the data. And also the data was cleaner. So actually, GCRMN had to delete or remove less data points from with using data sets from MERMAID than from other data sets. Because if, for example, you have a transect that doesn't have the right number of points that it's expected, then the GCRMN needs to remove that entire transect because it's likely that there are other issues. So you're actually losing a lot of data that could be meaningful. So that was, yeah, another key benefit of data coming from MERMAID. So yeah, ultimately what this means is just more data for the analysis and reporting and more time to actually focus on what gets us to the decision making, right? So it's like the reporting, the insights that we get, the information that we get from all this data. Because the bulk of the time when we think about these reporting, it's actually the data acquisition and integration into a single data set. So if we could actually speed up this process, we would have a lot more time to understand what all the data means and then create some powerful messages in the report. And beyond just facilitating the whole data integration process for GCRMN, it's also improving the coordination and collation within regional nodes for the GCRMN. So one of the key examples we have is from the Persian Gulf, so the MERMAID regional node that has 8 member nations. So before the data was gathered across all these 6 countries, 8 countries in total, and the team at NYU Abu Dhabi, led by John Burt, they, as the regional node lead, they started compiling and collating all this data in MERMAID. So now they have regional data from 6 countries in total that are unified in MERMAID. All the data is standardized in this one place, which has increased significantly the visibility, the power of sharing the data, and the quality of the data overall. So here you can see the example of 5 countries, all with the same type of data, with the same visualization. So it just like makes everything a lot easier, also for comparison purposes as well. If you're trying to compare within region what's happening, you're looking at apples and apples, right? So it's a lot easier. And with this effort, the region, the MERMAID region, managed to duplicate the number of sites that were represented in this latest world report for 2025. So really an amazing effort from John Burton team. And yeah, beyond just ecological coral reef data, MERMAID is also now supporting the GFCR in their monitoring and evaluation. So we refined and developed new tools inside MERMAID to be able to support the M&E through the collection of fund indicators. And these fund indicators, they encompass ecological, social, and financial ones, as you can see on the screenshot. So we capture not just hard coral cover, macroalgae cover, fish biomass, but also number of people that have been trained on restoration, number of people that have been supported and have better resilience, number of investments that have been leveraged, the amount of revenue that has been generated, and all that program by program, so that the programs can measure their progress against these key impact targets. And then the data that is being collected, captured in MERMAID, it's also feeding the impact platform of Reef Plus that Gabriel briefly mentioned. So all the data that convening agents from the GFCR programs enter in MERMAID gets directly fed into this impact platform to show to potential investors, donors, the impact that each program has had so far. So it has become a critical tool for M&E as well, of this innovative financing program for reef positive solutions. And I just mentioned one example of how data from MERMAID was integrated into another platform to show impact, even more so on a social and financial point. But a MERMAID is also helping filling critical data gaps by integrating data that sits in MERMAID into national dashboards. So now all the data, the benthic data that is in MERMAID and that is public, is integrated automatically with the SIDACO dashboard, so the conservation dashboard of Indonesia. So if you go there online now, in the SIDACO website, you'll be able to turn on the layers for all the different benthic survey methods like the PIT, LIT, photo quadrat, and then it will show all the different survey sites and the data that came from MERMAID. And then you can see that it's helping increase a lot the volume and the representation of coral reef monitoring in the country. So all these points in blue are data that come from the Indonesian government, that they have the source. And then with the integration of MERMAID, all the red points, you see that it has significantly increased the amount of of reef sites and also the number of surveys. And then you can go all the way to the site level to actually see benthic percent cover of the different key benthic groups. And that's all data that has been directly, that is being directly pulled from MERMAID into the Sudaco dashboard. So MERMAID is really meant to be collaborative. It's a collaborative tool. It's supposed to connect with other tools. So from the start, it was developed to be open source. So it can amplify the power of data by connecting with these other tools. And more specifically, these national dashboards that can be used for evidence-based decision-making. Which is the case now with the Indonesian government. So now if we focus in the East Asian seas, as Mahesh said, it's a very important region for coral reefs. It's really the heart of coral diversity in the world, with more than 30% of the world's coral reefs, particularly in the Coral Triangle. And this obviously translates into the data volume that you can see and access in MERMAID. So we don't have till today all the countries represented in MERMAID from the East Asian seas. So I filtered in the MERMAID Explorer dashboard these 5 countries that we currently have data for. And we can see that it represents a significant amount of the total data in the platform. So 40% of the total surveys that we have in MERMAID, they come from this region, mainly from the Coral Triangle, totaling over 53, about 53% of the total transects submitted. Now that is for both benthic and fish data. And about a third of the organizations that have adopted MERMAID, they are working in this region as well. So in Indonesia, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, and Timor-Leste. So we have some really world-class conservation teams that have adopted MERMAID as their tool of choice to improve all the data management, analysis, and reporting. So as you can see here, it's pretty broad. Like we have some universities, like the University of Philippines. We have some government authorities, like the Minister of Marine Affairs with Sudaco. But also we have some NGOs, some coalitions. So really a broad scope of users here. And we're helping all these organizations to change how monitoring is done. So MERMAID is really meant to accelerate the whole process of turning field observations, raw data into management and conservation decisions. So, I think we worked really hard to go up each layer of this pyramid from data all the way up to decisions. And the old way is that it really took a long time to get to decisions from data, to a point where sometimes data is not even relevant anymore, it's not up to date. So decisions, they come with a really wide leg. So with MERMAID, we're trying to speed up, this move up to decisions, to the top of the pyramid. And we're helping to do this by a few ways. So we're really reducing the effort of data management, trying to provide more real-time insights, but also importantly, visibility to key stakeholders, especially governmental authorities that sometimes don't have access, visibility of data. They don't know where to find data. They don't know where it sits, with who to contact to get data. So by having all of this in one platform, it can really speed up this whole process of turning observations into decisions. So now focusing really on the platform and its tools, MERMAID, as I said, it really helps support the whole data workflow end to end. So from data collection with MERMAID Collect, which is the app where you start creating your projects, collecting data, to visualizing with MERMAID Explorer. This is the other tool where you can discover data, you can explore, see trends, status of specific coral reef sites. But but also access quickly your data if you're a data analyst, for example, with the MERMAID R package, and then already plug the MERMAID data into your scripts. And then now we're starting building the analysis hub where we're sharing already tested, ready to use workflows for analysis. So there's a whole ecosystem of tools, and we keep building new tools as we progress, as we move forward. Always with the feedback from our users, we work very closely with them to get their insights, to understand their pain points, so we can build refined tools that really fit the needs of our users. So everything really starts with MERMAID Collect. That's where teams create projects, which are spaces where they can work, collaborate anytime from anywhere, and then collect all their Coral Reef data. And everything is secure and backed up in the cloud, so you don't have to worry about losing any data. So yeah, we start by inviting team members, so it's really a space to be collaborative. You said how you want to share your data, if you want to share your data at all. Like, we take data sovereignty and privacy very seriously. So that's why we built a feature to allow users to decide exactly how they want to share their data. You'll add your survey sites to the exact location, so you know exactly, so your data is linked to the exact reef location. You set your management as well, because we want to understand the management context of that reef site and of those surveys. So that's also really important in MERMAID. And then you start collecting data. So it's really an easy workflow to start from a brand new project all the way to data collection. And we support several methods that are widely used. Like Dr. Karen mentioned, we do like several methods depending on the resources we have, the team that we have. So on MERMAID, we think about this carefully, trying to incorporate the ones that are most widely used, that have been scientifically tested. So for benthic surveys, we have the most commonly used, so like PIT, LIT, and Photo Quadrat. And Photo Quadrat, we offer options for you to enter data manually in case you use another platform like CoralNet or Reef Cloud or CPCE. But now we also have our own AI model that you can use to automatically classify your photo quadrats. So here you can see the form where you enter your data. So where you transfer your data from the dive sheet into MERMAID. So you have just this very easy to work with observation table. And as you're entering your observations one by one, you're already getting some insights into your data, into your survey. So you're already getting the benthic percent cover separated by some key groups. And beyond benthic data, we also have fish belt method, a rapid bleaching survey method, and a habitat complexity method. And soon we'll also have the microinvertebrate belt method that will be added to the list. And here again, it's just as an example for fish data. As you're entering your observations, you're getting biomass calculated for you automatically, observation by observation, but also the total. So you get the total biomass and total abundance for that transect. And one really good feature that I really like personally, because scientific names can be quite complicated, and yeah, you'll want your data to be very clean. As you're entering your observations, you only need to type a few letters, and you already have the scientific name for you to select and enter as your observation. So that is very handy. So especially if you use some acronyms or some shortcuts for your fish species, then you can just type them in there, and then you'll get the full scientific name. So that's very handy and makes data entry a lot faster as well. So as I just mentioned, now we have our own MERMAID AI, our own model, which is meant to really reduce that manual effort of annotating photos point by point. So with the Mermaid AI, you literally just have to drag and drop your photos for your transect, and the model will start immediately classifying your photos. And that's because it's already a pre-trained model with a standard set of labels that match the taxonomic reference of mermaid. So in very few steps, you can get your photos annotated. And then since we're still in the beta version, we still require humans to be in a loop and to review the classifications from the model, just to have an expert opinion there and confirmation to make sure the data is as good as possible, as accurate as possible. And we did this in partnership with CoralNet. So as I mentioned earlier, we're all about collaborating, creating partnerships, having a strong network of partners. So CoralNet is one of them. So we used their whole ML framework to develop this one AI model that can work across different regions. And as we speak, we're improving the model so that we can release the first version that will perform significantly better. But right now we're still in the beta phase. So yeah, just a few steps, you can get your photos from being annotated. So you just need to upload, the model will start classifying. It classifies 25 points, that's fixed. So that's the whole idea with this workflow for image classification in Mermaid, is that there's the very few steps to get to your observations, to your annotations. So we don't require users to set any type of settings. Everything is preset for them. So they just focus on really confirming the classifications. And then as soon as you confirm your points and you submit your transect, you get instant results and you can see in real time your data in the dashboard. So that's really, really cool. So you can you can basically export, upload your data, and then on the same day, you could share that data with the community, for example, that you were monitoring. And just beyond the whole data entry that is meant to be a lot faster and easier, more efficient overall, we also included some built-in validation checks for your data. So these validation checks, you can think of them as like a first kind of quality control checkpoint. So we're trying to capture things that you might likely miss when you're entering data. You know, sometimes you skip a field that's required, you enter a duplicate entry. You know, these things can happen, especially when you work in a computer. So we have different validations. We have errors that are flagged, that are critical issues that you have to fix in order to submit your data. But we also have warnings that are more outliers, just for you to like take a look, like more like a soft constraint for your data. So for example, if you typed a fish size that is larger than the maximum size of observed based on fish base, that's the database we use for that information, we'll flag that to you. So you just need to take a second look to make sure you enter the correct size for your fish. Same if, for example, you enter a species that hasn't been observed in the region, we're going to flag that to you and say, hey, are you sure this is the right coral? Usually this coral is not observed here in the Philippines. So, we included all these nice validations just to have a first checkpoint. And then obviously you're going to do your own QA, QC. But we try to get like a head start for our users to remove as much as possible issues with the data. And then when you do all the validations and you pass them, then you can submit your clean data. And one of the most powerful things of the Mermaid Collect app, I think, it's that it can be with you in remote locations with no internet, and it won't stop you from getting the work done. So Mermaid works offline for data collection. So not all features are available offline, But if you are in the field in an expedition and you just came back from the water with your benthic TAT, for example, or your fish belt dive sheet, you can directly enter. If you have a tablet or if you have a computer, you can directly enter all your observations there with no internet. And there's just a few steps for you to follow to make sure the project is ready for offline use. And then everything syncs back to the cloud once you're back online. So there's really no space for losing data, for missing data. So I think this is definitely one of the most powerful and useful features of Mermaid Collect for teams that work especially in remote locations with either no internet at all or sometimes unstable internet connection. And as I mentioned previously, a Mermaid data privacy, data sovereignty is very, very critical. It's at the heart really of how everything was built. So users decide who sees their data, and they can decide that by survey type. So we understand that different data sets, different surveys might have different levels of sensitivity, might be connected to different donors and so on. So that's why we separated all the data sharing policies by survey type. So you can choose, for example, to have your fish data private, but to share your benthic data because maybe the benthic data is not as sensitive as fish data. So it's really entirely up to the user and project by project. So everything is very flexible, very tailored to specific needs. And as you can see here, for example, in Explore on the right, if your data is set to private, someone who is not part of that project, they'll see the site. So they'll see that there is a survey there, but they won't be able to get any visualizations. They won't be able to export any of the observations. So the data is really secure and restrained from outside users, as you can see here. And yeah, I've been showing snapshots of Mermaid Explore. So that's the other tool that we offer for users to discover data from other users in the community, but also to visualize their own data and get real-time insights. So if you go to Mermaid Explore, you can go and drill down all the way to a specific site, and then you'll get some key metrics like benthic percent cover, fish biomass, bleaching severity for that specific site as an average of all the transects at that date, that specific date. Or you can get some more high level a summary as well of the data of the monitoring that has been done in the region. So you can enable the map view for a specific area of the map, and then it will show you the metrics for that map view, which that's also really powerful. And then you'll be able to also not just see the status there in a single time point, but also time series of your data or for an entire area, country, region, depending on how you use the filters. And for private data, we still enable our users to see their private data in a secure environment where they have to authenticate using their login. So no one else that's not part of the project can really see that data and get access to that data. We have also some features to quickly share map view and specific insights through a link with other stakeholders. So maybe you want to point something specific on the map and share that with the stakeholder community member. You can quickly generate the link and then send that to the other person. All the charts are dynamic and you can easily download them directly from Explore. So you can integrate them into your reports. And you can also export all your data, but also any data that has been set to public by users, you can also download from Mermaid Explorer. Now, beyond data collection and visualization, another important step is data analysis. And a lot of you do use R for your data analysis. So that's why we have the Mermaid R package as an easy access for your data. So whatever project you created in Mermaid Collect, you can quickly access in R using the MERMAID R package, but also any public project. So if you're interested maybe in conducting more of a meta-analysis for a whole region, you can literally just filter all the public projects for that specific region or country, and you'll get all the data there loaded into your R session. And then quickly generate analysis, so you can quickly integrate your data into your analysis scripts, your workflows. So that really speeds up the whole analysis process. And as a complement to that, we are building now the analysis hub, where we're sharing with all our users these analysis recipes that we call that are built for any MERMAID data. So the idea is that since all the MERMAID data uses the same format, it has the same metric calculated in the same way using the same formulas, you can apply the same analysis, the same script to any data from different projects. So that's the beauty of the system. So if you have already these pre-made scripts that are ready to use, you need also like not as much coding experience to be able to get your analysis started and to apply these scripts to your MERMAID data. So this is a live library. It's an ongoing effort, and it's really community driven. So if you have an analysis that you use frequently that you think could be useful for other users, you can also submit your own analysis. We will review it and then reshape it in a way that can be used by other users that have MERMAID data. So yeah, we're really excited with this one because it's really catered to Reef data users. And we really want to facilitate this whole analysis process that can be quite burdensome sometimes. So feel free to check. The link is there below. It's on the website. There's Analysis Hub. As I said, we just started building out the library, and here are already some few examples. For example, there's a script if you want to identify locations of potential climbers in coral reefs. We have an example from Fiji. We also have a report card for benthic cover and fish biomass. There's also another one to do a quality check on your fish data based on your observers to see if there's any biases, any issues. So all these analysis examples you can apply easily to your MERMAID data. So yeah, all in all, there are many ways that MERMAID can be your data aid. These are just a few benefits that I'm highlighting here. But one thing I think that's worth mentioning as well, when we talk about connecting data, integrating, MERMAID again is collaborative. So we also have another app that allows you to upload data from other platforms. So if you have your own model in CoralNet that you use to annotate your photo quadrats, you can, with no coding, no hard steps, you can quickly upload your CoralNet data into MERMAID, into your project, and now as well with Reef Cloud. So if you have a model that you train, that you like to use or prefer to use the workflow there in that platform, but you still want to have all your data in one place in MERMAID combined with your fish data, your bleaching data, maybe soon macroinvertebrate data, you can upload data as well from Reef Cloud directly into MERMAID with no coding. And then the app reshapes your data to match the MERMAID data template and also the benthic names that MERMAID uses. So we did a whole label mapping for both CoralNet and Reef Cloud, so it's ready to use for users. So these are other tools that I think can be very useful. And yeah, I mean, I did say a lot of things, but what does that really mean for monitoring and reporting in these agencies? I think we all know that there are a lot of pain points in the whole monitoring process. So being collaborative, working smart in less systems, in a more unified way, more standardized way, is really the way to go. So we can scale monitoring, scale reporting, improve the visibility, the transparency as well of our data. That's really important. So strong monitoring is key, and using existing tools that can help you strengthen your monitoring is really important. And that just it has so many benefits. It can, really help governments to understand what's the current picture, the current state of the reefs, if protection measures are working or not. When you have good data, it can only guide better policy, better management, and then also turn commitments into measurable progress, because commitments by their own, resolutions by their own won't do. You need to be able to measure the management, the interventions, the actions that you're taking on the ground, to then show results, to be able to leverage more investment, and then tackle as well threats that might be happening and you don't even know, because if you don't have data, you don't know about threats as well, or also on future threats that might happen that you can potentially foresee and prevent. So yeah, there's several benefits for monitoring and using tools that can help you with this. And I just wanted to wrap up, since we're talking about resolutions commitment to really protect coral reefs and strengthen monitoring. The high-level global commitment for climate resilient coral reefs that's led by the WCS. So this is the commitment that has been signed already by 15 countries. It's a high-level political commitment, a first one of its kind, and it includes monitoring plans as a key way to implement the commitment. And the goal is to have, by COP31, 31 countries signed, that represent more than 90% of the world's coral reefs. So you can check on the link if your COP country is included or not, and whether you'd like to submit your country to join the commitment. And I have a short video to wrap up the presentation about the commitment.
Sorry, Alex. Thank you very much. Maybe you should reshare this screen with the sound. We don't hear any sound.
Oh, you don't hear any sound. Okay. Let me see how I can do this. I'll just finish this one last slide then, and then I'll try to reshare my screen. And yeah, so WCS has an ongoing MOU with the Coral Triangle Initiative. So we can provide all the support that's needed to CTI countries, but also other COP countries, for the adoption of the platform, for migrating historical data, or archival data from different organizations, so we can start, creating a more unified single point of truth for our coral reef data, and also help integrating this data to national dashboards and to other tools. So we're very open to collaborate, to help in any way we can. And yeah, I just wanted to share a few pictures of trainings we did with some community members that have proven to be really successful as well, especially when giving control to communities to conduct all the monitoring, all the analysis as well, so they can become really close to the data and why they're doing that. So that's really nice when you involve community members. So thank you. But I'm gonna try to share my screen again, and then maybe I can do that with audio. Let's see. If not, Jimmy, you can try to share your screen, because the video is also there in the master slide.
Yep. It's just you need to click the button when you are sharing the screen. But yeah, I'm happy to share it from my end as well.
Include sound. Okay,
Yeah.
saw that. Perfect.
You found
it? Yeah, found it. Okay. All right. Hopefully it works this time. Yeah.
Coral reefs are in crisis. Their future depends on us. Some coral reefs still have a chance. These are high-integrity, climate-resilient reefs, and they need our protection now. The time is now to identify, protect, and connect the world's climate-resilient coral reefs for the people who depend on them. The Wildlife Conservation Society science is uncovering where and how climate resilient reefs continue to thrive. And tools like MERMAID are making it faster than ever to find them. The future of coral reefs is a choice. Choose resilience.
All right. That's it for me. Always good to
Thank
end
you very
with a
much.
nice video.
Yeah. And then, oh, that's nice. We already have some reaction. DMCR raised their hand. Let me go back to our screen. So yeah, now we are going to move on to the questions and answers and discussion. So as DMCR Latinsta already raised their hand. So yeah, over to you.
Hi, I'm sorry, we got an accident. Do you hear me?
Yeah, but very soft. Could you maybe
No,
make your
it
sound
was
louder?
accident.
Ah,
Sorry, I'm sorry.
okay, fine.
I searching for the heart to give you the heart
Oh,
sign, but thank you very much for your talk.
Thank you.
okay.
Thanks for
Thank
listening.
you so much. Oh yeah, maybe we open the floor first. If anyone have any questions, yes, Sam, over to you.
Hi. Yeah, I just had one question. If apologies if I missed this while I was reconnecting, trying to get through the technical issues earlier. Is there a way to import historical monitoring data into your current projects? I know a lot of like NGOs or dive centers have been doing things for a while, but obviously, yeah, they might want to just easily import that into their current project.
Yeah, thanks. That's a great question. And yes, you can definitely do that. And that can be definitely a resistance point, right? Because you've been doing things a certain way for so long. You have all this historical data that you don't want to lose when you transition to another tool, another platform. And we definitely thought about that. And with the MERMAID R package, you can ingest all your data, import all your data into projects that MERMAID collect. We have the templates for the data import, and you can do everything with code. We have examples of code. We have a whole guide to help you with the ingestion process. And we have someone in our team that is dedicated to help as well with this ingestion process, that has all the know-how, the expertise, and can help kind of unpuzzle your data to make sure that everything can match the templates we use and the taxonomic names as well that we use. And they can help also with the script writing and coding and all that. So we've been supporting a lot of organizations. So just as an example, Marine Conservation Philippines, they just last week ingested a whole year of data, and now they're following up with other years of both fish and benthic data to MERMAID, so that they can moving forward using they can use the platform. So yeah, historical data is important, especially if we want to draw trends. So we need to have them with your ongoing data for sure. Thanks, Sam, for the question.
Thank you.
Great. Now let's move on to Margarita, over to you.
Hi, Alex. So thank you for the comprehensive overview of MERMAID. So last week I was in a Greenpeace workshop that talked about the potential role of citizen science in MERMAID. So I guess the photo quadrant transect way of collecting data suggests that regular people can submit their data. Is that correct? So I guess I wonder um, do you think how I wonder if the regular citizens, such as scuba divers or dive resorts that are regularly exposed to coral reefs every day or most days they're in the site, have been encouraged to participate in MERMAID. Is the tool easy enough for non-scientists or non-marine aligned people to support submitting their pictures, things like that for MERMAID? Over.
Thanks, Margie. So yeah, as I try to show there on my slide, the workflow for using the AI image classification is very easy, is very straightforward, is intended to be this way, to be very user-friendly, so we can really democratize the use of AI. But you still require a certain level of expertise to confirm the annotations from the model, at least at this stage of the model that's current in beta. What you saw during the Greenfins workshop, that's another initiative that MERMAID is working on. We were one of the grantees of the Bezos Earth Fund, where they're really trying to accelerate the use of AI for nature, for conservation. And we have this project where we believe we can really scale the monitoring and the coverage of monitoring that we have in the world by bringing in citizen scientists and by having them uploading the pictures and having powerful AI that can annotate these images at least to a high level of hard coral, microalgae, CCA, and so on. And then bring in experts that can then review on their own time these annotations from the models. But that is a separate initiative, which it might be integrated in the future with the MERMAID platform, but currently it's a separate initiative, separate project. So right now on MERMAID, it's really meant for people that do collect data in the fields, that are scientists or practitioners, or field workers, field assistants that understand the methodology. They have coral taxonomic expertise, and they can go and check in the annotations from the AI model and confirm them in order to submit the data. So that's where we're at right now. So the future does sound promising, and we strongly believe that citizen science can be very powerful to help us fill in all these data gaps. But that's a future thing.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Right.
Mari.
Nice. And then now I see Andrew raise their hand. Right, Andrew, over to you. Thank you.
Hi there. Yeah, so thanks very much for the presentation. And so I'm from Blue Corner Conservation in Bali, where our team, we're trying to start using the MERMAID platform, but we've been using reef check surveys for 15 years now. So we've got like this, a way that we've been doing it. So now trying to transition over is just taking a little bit of hiccups. So we haven't really sort of fully gone across yet. But I have a couple questions. One follows up from, I think, Sam, was it, that mentioned it earlier about sort of legacy data. You had mentioned that like there's coding to upload sort of that, because we have 10 years of reef check data for like 10 sites around the Nusa Islands that would be great to put up in the platform. But when I was going through it before and trying to set it up, it was line by line. So we kind of gave up on that because we don't have enough manpower for that. But then I noticed you mentioned that you do have team members that might be able to assist with that and assist with the coding, because as dive instructors, we don't really have a background in R coding and whatnot. So it's a little bit difficult to take this legacy data and upload it. But
Absolutely.
if there's a way to like get in contact with team members that might be able to help us. So that's my first question, is if you could share those contacts. Second is, so for methods that we use that aren't listed. So I noticed that, like, there's quite a few different substrate type monitoring methods, but there's only the one method for fish monitoring, which is belt transects there. So is there will maybe use it? So one of the methods that we use, and I know quite a few other organizations use, like stationary cameras, right? So a 10-minute time video of a, let's say 2 meter by 2 meter area, or a diver count, like the Eye on the Reef surveys, where it's like a 4 meter square and you're counting for 10 minutes of fish. Is there like down the road, the idea, like, will there be more methods coming on board? And with those fish ID ones, then will there be an AI sort of, will we be able to upload our 10-minute video and AI be able to detect some of these fish counts? That's my questions.
Hi, Idris. Thank you for your questions. So I'll work them backwards. So I think we all want an AI that works for fish. I think we can all agree on that. And I know there's a lot of different research groups working really hard to get that done. We're just not quite there yet. But with our team, we're always prospecting new technologies, new tools that we can incorporate into Mermaid. So as soon as there is a fish AI that we're confident enough about using it, we will do our best to try to integrate into the platform. But as it stands, we don't have it in the pipeline yet, like any integration with an AI model for fish identification, unfortunately. That said, for fish methods, yes, we're always looking into new methods to incorporate into the platform. So next quarter, we'll have microinvertebrates belt method that works similarly to fish belt method, because we heard from a lot of organizations and users, especially in the Pacific, that it is a very important survey that they conduct, especially for marine resources management. So it all depends on like the feedback that we get. If we do get a lot of users saying, look, we work with all these different methods, could you integrate into the platform? So if we do have quite a demand and we see a strong need for incorporating new methods, then we definitely work towards that. We definitely heard about the stationary point count method for fish, and that's something we already even worked around the current fish belt method to be able to enter data for SPC. So it is possible. So Nick Graham has a lot of data in the Seychelles using SPC, and they were ingesting data for this bigger research project. So they needed to ingest SPC data, and then they were able to do that using the fish belt form. So it's definitely possible as well to just wrangle around and just make sure it's in the notes. So whoever's using that data, if that data is public, they know that it's not a fish belt method, it's a stationary point count method. But the SPC method is definitely one that we're eyeing to incorporate next. Yeah. And then we definitely have someone in the team, Tila, who's really good at ingesting historical data sets. So, and she's luckily based in Jakarta in Indonesia, so time zone works perfectly. So I can put you two in contact.
Great, thanks a lot.
Great to see some next steps already. Thank you very much. Yeah, actually, I raised my hand because I see some questions on the chat. So first, there's a question from Mahesh and Dean about, are there any cost for countries to use the MERMAID platform? And then also for individuals, if there's also any cost for individuals to use it. It's a question to you, Alex, actually.
So the second question is if there's any cost for individuals to use it. Is that
Yeah,
the question?
so,
Yeah. So
yeah.
no, Mermaid is, the intention is to be forever free for all these tools that we currently have. It's possible that as we expand and we create new tools, and maybe some eventually, but that's all hypothetical, like there will be some kind of membership subscription. But as the platform currently stands, it's totally free for use. You just need to set up an account with your email or Google email, and then you can get started right away. And there's no limit. So you can create as many projects as you want, as you need. You can add as many team members as you need. You can, yeah, just use freely all of the available tools at the moment. Yeah. And that's the intention, that it remains like that. Yeah.
Great. So then I think it applies to the question to Mahesh as well, like also free for countries for using MERMAID as well. Okay,
Yes,
great.
yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Moving on to the next question from Shinan. Hi, Alex. Great presentation. I'm Shinan from C3 Fiji, and we're using MERMAID for the UNDP project ICRBE. Yeah. Working with grassroots communities, we come across traditional names of fishes. Is there any chance for incorporating TK into MERMAID?
Yeah, that is a great question. And it's something I think all of the platforms have come across because a lot of monitoring is indeed done by communities, by community members. And it is a different language, they have a different knowledge. Scientific names sometimes don't mean anything to a lot of people, sometimes even to myself. So it is a tricky one, one that we carefully thought about it already. The problem is that different communities, even within the same country, they might have different names, different dialects. So it would be really hard to find like one fit for all solution, because otherwise we would have to enable everyone to enter whatever indigenous traditional name there is. And then we would have to somehow map that to the existing taxonomy, the scientific taxonomy, right? So maybe it's possible that now with this advent of AI and things are evolving so fast that we could potentially, have this AI that could easily map these different labels, so like traditional labels with scientific labels. But currently, with just the way things are set up, that is rather challenging, given just the diversity of all the traditional names and dialects that we have, right?
Yeah. Okay, I hope that answered to your question, Shannon. And then next question is from Tin. As a follow-up, is it possible to see some information on taxonomy standards used?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So everything, as I mentioned, is open source in the platform. So even the code, you can see the whole code of how things are architect and built. And same goes for the taxonomy that we have. So if you're in the Collect app, you're in your projects page at the top, there's a reference button, and there you can download the entire list of the taxonomy we have that we use. So we have there in the same document the taxonomy for benthic attributes, it's what we call, also for fish. So you can see both in the same document. And it's a living document. So as we have users utilizing Collect, entering new fish observations, benthic observations, but mainly for fish, we see that's more the case of new species that we don't have in our reference. So users can add new names. We will review to make sure that all the scientific names are accepted, are valid. We will add properties to that fish. So like the biomass constants, maximum fish size observed, the region, so the geographical distribution for that specific fish, the trophic level, trophic function, vulnerability, all these properties that you as a user, once you download your data, you also get that information for each of your observation. So you can also do different kinds of analysis based on these properties that we add for each species. And we use authoritative databases like FishBase and Worms to make sure that all the information we're adding there is up to date and it's scientifically validated.
Cool. Nice. So we don't have enough time, but Dean, do you have any follow-up questions? It can be quite quick. Thank you. As I see you raise your hand.
Might have been from the previous question. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
I actually raised my hand, Jimin, if I may, just very quickly. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
No, I just wanted to check very quickly if there's multilingual support, even if it's machine translated. And then second point is, we will definitely follow up on follow up with the conversation on Mermaid and the Sea-Learn synergies, because yeah, we would be focusing on the many aspects that the SES app is working on, and especially coral reefs, which is one of the habitats that the project is addressing. So this is just an advance notice that we will get in touch again with your team and also maybe some of the participants who might be interested to synergize on this knowledge platform that the SES SAP project and also COBC is developing right now. Not intended to duplicate any of the efforts, but more to really synergize and collaborate on a higher level to make it easier for the experts and managers to access the information that they need to come up with good decisions for our seas. Over.
Thank you very much.
Hi, team. That's a very timely question, actually, because as we speak, we're actively working on translation. So we're adding new languages to the Mermaid Collect app. So the first language that we'll be adding very shortly is Bahasa. And that's based on just like the number of users that we have that are located in the country. And then following that, we'll likely have Portuguese, French, Spanish as the next languages. But Bahasa will be the next first one that we'll add, and you'll be able, and that's not a Google Translate, that's like an actual translation that we're working on just to make sure that all the terms are correct, that we have reviewed, validated all of them. So there's no potential for a misunderstanding or having bad translations and then you enter something wrong because the translation was not right. So Bahasa is next, and we're very excited, and we should be launching very soon. So stay tuned. Feel free to sign up to our newsletter. You can go to our website, and at the very bottom, there's a Mermaid email that you can sign up to. I added the website link in the chat. And we're always announcing all these product releases, all these new features, everything that's new in the Mermaid ecosystem, we're always announcing in our newsletters and sometimes in some blog posts as well. So just like stay tuned. We're also active on LinkedIn, Facebook. So whenever we have some nice releases, important releases for our users, we always communicate in those channels. But yeah, Bahasa will be next. We're very excited about that.
Oh, thanks a lot for sharing the link to the newsletter as well. So yeah, thanks for all for this active discussion. Now we would love to close this session with some concluding remarks. So I know, Alex, you've been speaking quite a lot, but if you have any other points you want to raise, this is the opportunity. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Jimin. Yeah, I just wanted to wrap up first to thank the opportunity to be here and to share a little bit about Mermaid and how it has helped other initiatives, other projects to accelerate their work and show their impact. So really, we're really grateful and excited to be here and just looking forward to what that's going to lead to. I hope there will be a lot of next steps and conversations with different organizations, different countries. Very excited to potentially see new countries that we don't have currently in the platform, now potentially using Mermaid for their monitoring. And yeah, just reiterating what I said at the end, WCS and Mermaid, we're very eager to support in any way we can. So if you think the platform really fits your needs, it could help you a lot. We're very happy to provide all the support, all the capacity building, making sure all the transition is very seamless, that we can that we can get all the historical data in there, so you can have historical data and ongoing data from your ongoing surveys all in the same place. Train all your team members so they're comfortable and they can be self-sufficient in using the platform, using all the tools. And it's an ongoing support. So whenever there's trouble, like any issues, where they're helping like troubleshooting and all that, and also just actively listening to our users. So if you have any feedback, please feel free to share with us. Good or bad, it doesn't matter. Actually, bad feedback is better because it helps us grow and improve. So we're always open. So feel free to reach out. I added my email at the end. I'll add it again here in the chat. So if you want to learn more, if you want to get a demo with your team, if you need support with ingesting your historical archival legacy data, just contact me, and then I'll put you in touch if it needs to be, if I need to connect you with someone else. And yeah, just looking forward to what's next.
Well, thanks a lot
Thank
for
you.
your time. Cool. So now next, our last speaker, Marvy, over to you.
All right, so I guess to conclude everything, thank you, Alex, for giving us a comprehensive and wonderful overview of Mermaid. And thank you to all our participants for joining this discovery webinar. And of course, thank you especially to Jimin and Vidre for organizing this engaging session. So as we discussed at the start, the East Asian Seas region is rich in coral reef initiatives, but our challenge has always been the scattered nature of data. We've seen how the Mermaid platform serves as more than just a database. It is a bridge from data towards actionable insights. It allows us to move from isolated observations to harmonized narrative of coral reef situation in the region and the world. So Mermaid provides a standardized ecosystem that supports coral reef monitoring, which can contribute to global and regional reports, such as the Global Coral Reef Monitoring Network, allowing us to better support science-based decision for coral reef conservation at local, national, and regional levels. So our question now is, what's next? How can this evidence be used to leverage on-the-ground actions like conservation and restoration and financing mechanisms? I will leave this group with this question, but with the SCSAP and COMC, we are looking at how to move forward with having these data to support decision-making and understanding priority areas and priority action on coral reef management, such as through the regional specific knowledge management platform. As Tin mentioned earlier. So our goal is to ensure that data we collect informs policy. And by centralizing our efforts through online platforms such as Mermaid, we can more effectively track our progress towards regional targets and global commitments. So we invite all of you to remain active in this process, not just as data contributors, but as partners in safeguarding the East Asian Seas. Again, thank you all for your time and commitment for joining us in this webinar. Back to you, Jimin.
Thank you very much, Marvy. Yeah, with this, we would love to conclude this session. Thanks again for Alex for sharing more information on the Mermaid platform. And thank you everyone for asking questions and your feedbacks and reaching out for the next steps. Yeah, feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions or suggestions for the next webinar, and then to ask for the Alex. And don't forget for the newsletters. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good day.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Everyone,
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.
Thank you.
You, everyone.